beautiful. The church was so reverent. There was so much reverence at St. Mary's at that time. It felt like God was right here in the church. And that was one of the things that attracted me and made me want to be confirmed. We had I guess it was some kind of retreat. We had the monks from, I think they were from Mount Vernon, New York, if I can remember correctly. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was, services at night. And after one of the services, and I mentioned that to one of the monks, that this is the feeling that I had that God was right here in the church. And he said, well, he is. And I liked the church. I grew up as a Baptist.
Okay.
But, of course, my husband was a staunch Episcopalian, and I knew he would never leave the church. And at the time that I was married, I was told that your first child would have to be an Episcopalian. So after we married, I can't remember. Anyway, I decided, well, to keep from having a divided family. And I liked what I saw and felt in the church. So then I became a member of St. Mary's.
So you were an adult when you became a member?
I was an adult.
Okay.
I must have been around 25, I guess.
Okay.
I was an adult.
All right. All right.
Well, one of the things that stands out most for me, I think, was the Harvest Home dinners.
Okay.
Because my husband used to be the coordinator of the Harvest Home. And of course, I had to work along with him. And I can remember washing 300 plates, glasses, flatware, in addition to the pots and the pans. I remember one year I was so tired I couldn't go to work the next day. Then we used to have on the second Sunday in May, we had a tribute to Mary, our Queen. And the children wore white. And of course in those days, heads were covered. And we also had sisters at that time. And the sisters had the white veils for the little girls. And of course the little boys were in their white suits. And the girls were in white too, of course. And they all had flowers. And we had a procession. It went out, even down at the old church. It was around Orchard Street and I guess McCullough. And they came into the church. And of course here they went out the back door there and around and came in through the front of the church in the procession. And we had special hymns that we used to sing that were attributed to Mary, our Queen. Then of course the baptisms, which were at the font back then. And then, I don't remember if we had it here, but at the old church, we used to have the fish fries. That was a big occasion. Of course, here we have had, at the Stations of the Cross, we've had fish dinners that were sold. And the church used to also go to the beach, and we used to have boat rides. We used to have boat rides, and I can remember on one of the boat rides, a storm came up, And Father Manning was the priest at that time. And somebody said, Father Manning, pray, because we were out there on that water in the storm. Let's see some of the other things I may remember. Let's do the harvest home. Oh, I also remember we had procession on Palm Sunday, which was a big thing. And the acolytes used to come in the back door there, and the foot of the cross, they banged on the door, and they came in, and they were never singing along with us. And of course, we had the Sunday school. At one time, I was in charge of the Sunday school. At that time, I lived in the rectory, and one day Father Lacia happened to come in, and he looked so down, and I asked him what was his problem, and he said he needed somebody to do, he was looking for somebody to do the Sunday school. So I said, well, I only have a Baptist background, but I would be willing to take over the Sunday school. And he was quite delighted. And we did that, and we had a couple of plays. At that time, Mary West Miller was was an actress, and she assisted us with that, and that was very good. We had some of the people in the church crying. We had the play in the Great Hall.
Okay.
And then I also started at the Sunday school at Thanksgiving to have them to bring, we had a basket. And I asked Father George at that time if he would see, I didn't want to know who received the baskets, but I would like for them to go to a needy family, not a poor family, because they managed somehow or other to get things free, but to give it to a needy family. So, of course, that filled my heart. I was happy to see that done. I think the Episcopal Church was primarily a white church. I only knew of St. Mary's and St. James and St. Catherine's. They were the only churches I remember as being black churches. So of course for us, I think it was a wonderful move, one that I didn't think would happen, but it did happen, and I think most of us were very proud of Bishop Sutton, and very happy to see him to be elected. Surprised.
Surprised, okay.
First and foremost, I guess, the priest used to face the altar. And of course, there was emphasis on the gospel and the Episcopal side of the church. And we used to have asparagus at the beginning. The Mass started that way. I think it was more respect for the church at that time. I would like to see more children in the church. And I don't know, in this neighborhood, for example, in this block, I don't imagine there are many children. I know when we lived here, there weren't. But I have always been an advocate of children, because that's your future church. And when I had the Sunday school, that was one of the things that I used to try to instill in our priests at that time, that we need to encourage more children, because this is your future church. And sure enough, we just have these few little children that we do have. And most of our church is beyond childbearing. And
So we need a middle age group in here, a young age group to come in here to have more children.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I understand that. We're starting to see more though. We're starting to see more. Yeah, I think we have more acolytes than we did a few years ago, a couple of years ago, because I'm seeing some of the younger children now that are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And it's encouraging, and I'm glad to see that David is giving them more responsibility, because children like to be a part. They like to do. And to just stand here and not be an active member, I don't imagine that makes them feel real good. But I'm glad that he is giving them the opportunity to participate, because they're getting old and they can't do as much as they used to do. So it's nice to see the young people involved and bringing in their friends to also be involved. And I think that's a very positive thing.